Not right now, sweetie.
Hi, Miss Hudson.
Hi, good morning. How was your Memorial Day?
It's pretty good. My neighbor just kind of looked at old videos.
Aw. Just letting everybody in right now.
How was your Memorial Day? Any fun
Nice
plans?
to have a day off. I didn't do anything, but it was nice to have a day off. Okay, let me share my screen. All right, I'm just gonna give everyone like another minute or so. I just sent out the remind, letting everybody know to come on. So we'll start in a minute. All right, so one more minute, and then I'm gonna go over kind of the rest of the year with you guys. So you can work ahead, or you might wanna work ahead. Make sure you pace yourself on everything. All right, that might be it. So anybody joining later, they'll just have to ask questions later. So if you guys have any questions while I'm going over anything, just make sure you ask. You can send me an email or text later. So we're gonna start the last assignment for May, which would be this week, is to be making a blueprint. I already have somebody turn it in. So you have two things down here. This is where your blueprint is gonna be attached, but I'm gonna go over the slideshow first, so you kind of have an idea of what we're working on for the next couple of weeks. So we're going to be going into the Rube Goldberg, which is something that I've talked to you guys about pretty much since the beginning of the year, because I know you guys have seen the roller coasters, and a lot of people were asking, are we going to make roller coasters? So instead of doing a roller coaster, we are making a Rube Goldberg, which is very similar. You may have seen some of the Rube Goldbergs that Miss Haney does with her students. She's actually made them a little bit more advanced over the last couple of years to kind of be similar to what we're doing. So if you have done it with Miss Haney, if you're one of Miss Haney's students, then you want to kind of take advantage of that. So it's just going to help you be able to design a better Rube Goldberg. So the first couple of slides just kind of go over who Rube Goldberg was. So I'm going to let you do that on your own. A little bit about his work. Oh, sorry. And then there's some pictures. Now these are a little more complex. They're made with wood. This is not something that I'm looking for. You guys, I want you guys to use all recycled materials, or like something that you're going to throw away anyway. So any of your Amazon packages that are coming in, if you happen to take the trifold or use a trifold for your Genius Hour, or a poster, any like water bottles you can use. So these are just some pictures just to kind of give you guys some ideas of what a Rube Goldberg could look like. So you can see there's like a ball here, and if it's released, it would go around the circle, and then it goes through a series of different steps to complete a final task. So these are ones that I had my students do last year. Well, I didn't have them. These are the ones that my students designed last year. And if you go through it, you'll see this will be a little bit more similar to materials that you'll have. So it's all kind of just garbage that I collected through the year to specifically for the Rube Goldberg. So most of it was just cardboard. A few of them, I will open one. No, this is the right one. But a few of them actually used the trifolds that they had used for an earlier project to put their whole design on. So I would highly recommend going through some of these YouTube videos from them last year. And what they did last year is a lot more complex than what I want you guys to do this year. Let me see. Okay, so you can see this one, they use the trifold. It's a very short, so they actually had to label their video with all of the physics concepts. I think I have kind of bad internet right now, so sorry that it's on such a delay. But their labeled video will help you guys understand how to label your blueprint. So I'm looking that your Rube Goldberg works, and I'm also looking that your blueprint is labeled, but you don't have to do all this extra when you're making your video. So you're just gonna videotape it working. So I'm gonna kind of skip through, so you'll see that the greatest amount of force used will be at the very top. It'll also be where your kinetic energy, the most amount of, not kinetic, your most amount of potential energy would be, because it's at the top, and we're gonna be working mostly with gravitational potential energy. You probably will not use elastic energy. So then as it goes down, I don't know if they consider that an inclined plane, but that would be one simple machine. This was their wheel and axle, so it hit, you can kind of see they put little spokes in here, so when the marble went down, it hit a spoke and it turned it. We have a change in something with velocity before. We have an increase in speed because it's going downhill. And you can see that it went down here, went down an incline, and then this is a pulley that they built. A little blurry, but you can see that the cups moved, and then the marble went down the spiral, that went down into a cup, and then it put enough pressure right here on their space bar that made it say like ouch or something when the marble hit. So each part of the machine is labeled, so all of these videos will be labeled for you, so you guys can get some ideas. They'll also all have 3 simple machines, a minimum of 3 simple machines. For you guys, since you're doing it at home and by yourself, you are only required to have 1 simple machine. And like I said, you don't have to label the videos the way they did. So I'm looking for your blueprint to be labeled correctly. So these are some of the musts. Let me just move your beautiful, well, your names, not your faces. So you have to be able to transfer energy within your device. It has to travel a specific path from start to finish, and it should take about 20 seconds. Some of them might take a little less, some might take a little bit more, but I am looking for about a 20-second Rube Goldberg. When you start it, so it has to be a self-powered utilizing potential energy. So again, like I said, the top part of your machine is going to be where the most potential energy is going to be. That's going to be one of your labels. Once you let go, or once you add that energy to the marble or dominoes or whatever it is you're going to use to start the machine, you are not allowed to interfere at all anymore. So you are allowed to use counterweights, but it has to be part of the design. And you cannot use batteries or any kind of electrical power devices. So you can't like use a remote control car that you are controlling the entire machine with. But if you want to use a remote control car to start the device, you are allowed to use that. So you guys actually have an advantage of having some extra stuff that we normally wouldn't have at home. I mean at school, because you're at home. Sorry. It has to be capable of repeated demonstrations, so you shouldn't have a long setup in between. This is more for school, so that way if you mess up, you can start again. But because you're recording it, if you want to take a really long setup time, you can. But try not to build something that's going to take too long to repeat over and over. That way you make sure that the end product works, and you can set it up very easily if it, for some reason, goes through and doesn't work. That does happen quite a few times. That happens often, when you make a Rube Goldberg. You also have to have an end goal. So some examples that I had last year, You can pop a balloon at the end. You can drop a cage on something, so kind of like that mousetrap game. You can turn on a light. Boys. So turning on a light is going to be a little bit tricky, but because you'll be doing it at home, you'll be able to actually attach something to the light switch. You can reveal a message. So I've seen a few that like a toilet paper roll comes out, and then inside the toilet paper roll is a message. People have been making a lot of Rube Goldbergs for the pandemic right now, so you might even look up a few ideas online. All right, so your procedure, you want to start with your end task that you're going to perform. So if you want to pop a balloon, that's how we're going to start. Oh no, I'm reconnecting. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. So I don't know what's going on with my internet right now. So the easiest way would be to kind of start with your end task. So I actually had last year like a group wanted to brew their own coffee. So, and I think that's in one of those videos. So they started with a power surge protector that had the on and off switch. And that's actually what they used as their lever. So they had to kind of work backwards to figure out, okay, we have to have enough pressure of something that's going to drop on our lever to turn the power switch on that will then turn the coffee maker on. So you always want to work backwards, because if you're working forward, might not have enough energy, or you might not be able to figure out how to combine your end product with your initial product. Then you're going to brainstorm some possible solutions. So think about what simple machine you want to use. Any additional simple machine past your first one will be extra credit. You want to draw and label. Hold on for 1 second. Boys, put the puppies away. Can you go outside? Our dog just had puppies, so the boys are playing very loudly with them. All right, so you want to brainstorm some possible solutions, and then you want to draw and label your solution. Okay. Here's one of the puppies. All right, now go put them away and be careful with them. So draw and label it on a piece of paper. So this is where your major grade is going to come from. You are going to get a grade based on the fact that the Rube Goldberg that you actually build at home works, but you're getting kind of 2 grades on your blueprint, because you're going to do one this week that you're going to turn in, and then you're going to revise it as you go. And as long as you did a pretty good job with the first one, you probably won't have to do a lot of revision, and then you're going to submit it a second time at the end of the project, and this is going to really take us to the end of the year. So you want to make sure you have a really good drawing. It has to be labeled, and you have to insert it on the rubric document. I'm going to show you where that is. You're going to build your machine. Boys, go outside. As you're building, hopefully you've learned through the year that as you build, it's not always going to come out exactly the way you want it to, so you want to make revisions. As you're making your revisions, that's when you're going to go ahead in your blueprint and change up your blueprint. All right, so timeline. Forgot that it was Memorial Day yesterday. So you have this week to draw and label your physics concepts. The physics concepts are on the next slide, so I'll go over that in a minute too. You also want to make a list of the materials that you think that you're going to use. So the blueprint, even though it sounds like it's going to be complicated, if you work backwards, like I said, and you kind of think of what simple machine you want to add, you should be fine. So you really just need to take the time to think of what you want that end product to be. So you're going to submit your Google Drawing, where I open this up. So right here is where you're going to take a picture of the picture that you drew. So you can use line paper or graph paper or just blank paper, whatever you guys have at home. So these are all the labels. So what you can do, instead of writing the words increasing speed, is you can use the letter A. So wherever you think that there would be an increase of speed at any point of your Rube Goldberg, you can just write the letter A. B for decrease in speed, C for change in velocity, and so on. If you have so when you do the simple machine, you can write J, but then I want you to know what simple machine you're using. So is it a wheel and axle? Is it a pulley? So you also need to write the name of the simple machine. And then the same thing goes for K. If you add an extra simple machine in there for extra credit, then please tell me what simple machine you're using, lever, whatever it is. List of materials, so you can type right on this document, just make a list. That'll go down here. And then take a picture of your blueprint, and you'll just go to insert. And you can probably, if you go to photos, actually, sorry, not photos. If you go to, go to image and go to camera, then you can go ahead and insert from your computer. I guess I don't have my camera set up here. But from your computer, you'll be able to insert a picture right there. So you just hold your computer over your drawing and insert it that way. Make sure that try to get it all to fit on one page. Don't forget, I put it in red so it kind of stands out. Hopefully you'll remember. You should have a title and theme of your Rube Goldberg. So I would say it probably should go along with the end product. So if you want to pop a balloon, think of some type creative title that goes with popping a balloon. And then what you want your Rube Goldberg to accomplish. So if it was popping a balloon, you just type popping a balloon. So make sure you fill that top part up too, because that'll be part of your grade. Okay, so back to the list. So June 1st through 10th, you will have the time to actually be building your Rube Goldberg. So that gives you 2 weeks to build. The last 2 days, I give you 2 whole days to videotape it. So really between June 1st to June 12th, you guys are gonna be working on building the Rube Goldberg and then videotaping it. You should be able to build it all within a day or two. Just make sure that wherever you're building it is in a place where your parents, because I hear this all the time, your parents are not gonna take it down and put it away. It makes it a lot easier if you can kind of tape stuff on the wall or tape stuff to your trifold and then put it somewhere safe where nobody's gonna take it down. So your final submission is going to be a recorded video of your Rube Goldberg in action. It has to match or look like the drawing, your blueprint. It has to have all the physics concepts on the rubric, which I'm going to show you also. Explain each label. Take a picture of your final blueprint that's going to go in the rubric, and then you have to turn in your video and the rubric together. Does anybody have questions right now? All right. So again, here's another area where you can find a list of all the physics concepts. These are all concepts that we've been going over through the whole year, so not year, but the last several months. So you should be familiar with all of them, and you can always look it up if you are not. All right, so let's go back here. So that's what's due this week. So let me just go up to June now to go over the rest of the year. And okay, let me start with the Rube Goldberg. So here's the rubric. Now the rubric isn't due until June 12th. And then I give you kind of a buffer week where if for some reason you don't have it done, you still have enough time to get it in for a late grade and have it be part of your final grade. So this very top part, you guys don't have to fill out. That's more for me to write how many points you've earned. You do need to have all of this in. So this is the third place that I have the list of physics concepts, but I need you to also, where you can go ahead and do that now if you wanted to, you have to explain how your label is an example of the requirement. So on your blueprint, you label somewhere increasing speed. You would say, so if it's going downhill, then gravity is being used to pull the marble down, which is changing the speed, it's increasing the speed as it goes downhill. So you just label, you want to write a sentence explaining how your blueprint or your final product is increasing speed in that section, how it's decreasing speed. If it's going uphill, the marble is slowing down, so the speed is decreasing. Change in velocity, remember velocity is change in speed or change in direction. So if it's going in a spiral, it's changing velocity because it's changing direction. If it is slowing up or slowing down or speeding up, then it's also changing velocity because the speed is changing. So you just have to explain a little bit. One sentence is enough. It doesn't even need to be a complete sentence. It just needs to, I just need to be able to understand that you understand why you labeled each of those sections. Simple machine, you're going to say this is a pulley because it has, and explain why it's a pulley or why it's a lever, which lever it is a first, second, or third class lever. So you'd explain where the fulcrum is located, where the workload is, and the resistance force is to make that a lever. And then again, same thing with if you do any extra credit, simple machine. So down here is where you would insert your Rube Goldberg. If you don't want to put it in the box, you can just go on to the next page. That would be fine. Make sure that it has labels and the materials that you're using. So you're kind of just taking this blueprint that you're doing today, make sure you do it in pencil, and then you can erase and revise as you're building, and then your final blueprint will go in this document as well. All right, so does anybody have any questions at all for the Rube Goldberg? I don't want you guys going out and buying materials. You're gonna just start collecting stuff. Cereal boxes are great to use. Toilet paper rolls are great to use. Paper towel rolls. You might need tape. So if you don't have tape at your house, that's the only thing I can really see you needing to go get. But if you have glue, glue works also. So does anybody have any questions right now for the next couple of weeks with the sign? All right. So the very last week, I posted this a while ago. So this is kind of your buffer time, like I said. So you have one more week that if you don't finish your Rube Goldberg on time, you can still work on it for a late grade. But as I promised throughout the year, we are going to make ice cream. So we're going back to those endothermic and exothermic reactions. If you guys remember chemical reactions. So endothermic and exothermic, endo means when the heat goes into the reaction, and exothermic reaction is when the heat leaves the reaction. So you guys need to actually figure out, is making ice cream an endothermic reaction or an exothermic reaction? Is heat going in or is heat leaving? These are your reflection questions that you're going to answer. So you're answering all these questions. You're going to take a picture of yourself enjoying the ice cream and insert it here. And then these are just, this kind of goes over how the ice cream is made, a background of the ice cream. And then we have materials that you need. I highly, highly recommend, if you don't have like winter gloves, to use a towel because your hands will freeze making the ice cream. So make sure you use something that you're going to be able to cover the ice up with. So this is one of the list of ingredients that you can use, but I gave you a couple of different options. I don't want you to have to go out and buy more ingredients. So if most people have some kind of milk or like a milk substitute, like almond milk or soy or coconut milk, whatever you have, whatever you drink, you can use that. So if you don't have whipping cream, the whipping cream or heavy cream or half and half, that just makes it really creamy and tastes really good. But if you don't have that, don't go out and buy it. Just use regular milk. So you just double the milk. So instead of a half cup and a half cup, you'd use a full cup. So that would be for this one. You can also flavor it. So if you want to use flavor like strawberry syrup or chocolate syrup, it already has a lot of sugar in it. So I told you how to do that. So you would take out half of the sugar and use the strawberry syrup instead, or the chocolate syrup instead. And then if you have allergies and you can't drink any kind of milk product, you can do the same thing. So you make more of like an icy, and you take any of your favorite juice. So you can use like orange juice. I think this video does it making orange juice, but you can also use apple juice. And remember, those juices have a lot of water in it, so it kind of freezes more, makes more of like an ice pop kind of thing. But because you're mashing it around, it'll be creamy, or not creamy, but it'll be like an icy. So it'll just be a little bit more watery. Here, this video uses only milk. So if you want to do an only milk with no cream, you can watch this video. So these are the directions on how to do it. If you want to find your own recipe, you can do that too. Really, you just need to answer these questions for full credit. So you can do this at any point at all. I know I've already had quite a few people talk to me about it, email me about it, and they've already completed it. So this is like the last week of work. So if you want to do this like this coming weekend when it's supposed to be nice out or any nice day, you guys can work ahead, get that completed, and submit it. So that way you don't have any work the last week of school if you finish your Rube Goldberg early. Same thing with Rube Goldberg, finish it early, and you guys will be done with school really early this year. All right, so I believe that is everything for the rest of the year. So does anybody have any questions at all? Nothing? All right, so, okay, go ahead. What?
This seems pretty easy,
I
not that hard.
So. The only thing, like, I know some people kind of procrastinate the building part of it, but it is something that we were going to do in school anyway. So if you guys just work ahead, if you get the blueprint done, the building part will be easy. So my goal is to make it easy. I hope it's easy for you guys. I know, Morella, you're very creative already. So I think that don't, kind of like the beginning of the year, don't stress out over trying to make it super complex and really, really awesome. Just get it done. And make it easy for yourself. So that way you guys can kind of get into the summer and relax, hopefully.
Yeah. It's kind of weird because there's always like at the end of the year, it's always that last week where we're doing stuff like fun and we would have like everything.
I know. We were going to make, well, remember we were saving all those 2-liter soda bottles. We were going to make bottle rockets. That would have been a whole day outside playing and having fun. And the Rube Goldberg should have been done already. We would have done that earlier. This would have been like a whole all hands-on building stuff this whole marking period. Making the ice cream, we would have done that in school.
Yeah, it just sucks we can't be there to celebrate it.
I know. We could have had another bake-off. So I know, it stinks. I'm sad. But hopefully you guys enjoy doing this project and maybe learn something from it. And the ice cream is so easy, and I just think it's so cool because going into the summer, you'll learn it's like 3 or 4 ingredients. I think it's just sugar, vanilla, and milk, and then, or any syrup. So it's like 3 ingredients to make ice cream with the ice and salt. And it takes like no time at all. So you guys always have like a nice, refreshing treat. So that's kind of why I wanted to save it for the end of the year, although I was hoping we'd do it in school.
Yeah.
All right, anybody have any other questions? All right, so I'm still gonna continue with the Zooms each week, but really I don't need to go over anything because I think you guys understand it. So if you wanna participate, like if you have any questions, you can always email me or text me, or you can join in on a Zoom, but you guys know what you're doing for the rest of the year. So I think you should be pretty good. All right, so if you have no more questions, we can end the meeting now. And hopefully you guys get this done pretty easily and quickly, and maybe you can finish school a little bit early this year. All right?
Bye.
All right, bye. Have a good
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.